In the brutal winters of the Second World War, when the Eastern Front froze solid and men slept in trenches carved into permafrost, survival wasn't about comfort. It was about staying alive one more night. Traditional fires drew enemy attention, smoke gave away positions, and frostbite claimed more soldiers than bullets. Yet buried within old engineering manuals and field reports lies a heating method so efficient that it was said to melt ice beneath the ground itself. It kept bunkers habitable, weapons operational, and soldiers alive without a single visible flame. Before we uncover the lost science behind it, make sure to subscribe to In the Beginning, the channel that resurrects forgotten wartime innovations and survival secrets history tried to bury. The origins of the underground heating system came from desperate innovation. This method wasn't designed in a lab or invented by generals. It came from soldiers forced to think faster than the cold. The technique emerged during the winter campaigns of 1942 to 43, particularly among German and Finnish units stationed in frozen regions where temperatures dropped below -30°C. Their challenge was simple. How do you stay warm without smoke, firelight, or fuel? The answer came in the form of subterranean heat channels, a system built using nothing more than steel cans, sand, coals and clay. Instead of lighting fires above ground, soldiers created a closed loop of radiant heat that ran through the earth itself. This field-engineered system could heat an entire dugout from beneath the floor, melting frost along the walls and keeping men alive through nights that reached levels of cold most modern armies could not endure. The principle relied on heat retention and redirection instead of open flame. Traditional fires lose most of their heat to the air. This wartime system flipped that logic. It was based on ground heat capture, a process where warmth is generated underground and slowly released through compacted earth. Soldiers began by digging a trench about half a metre deep that ran beneath their shelter floor. Into this trench they packed alternating layers of hot coals and sand, then covered them with a thick layer of clay and soil. The sand acted as insulation, trapping the heat while the clay sealed it in, preventing smoke or oxygen flow. Over hours, the warmth radiated evenly upward through the floor, maintaining a steady temperature inside the shelter for up to 12 hours. Some soldiers even buried metal pipes or old ammo shells horizontally in the trench to help channel heat further across the bunker floor. In modern thermal terms, they had created a primitive radiant heating system, one that needed no wires, gas or electricity. The heat was generated slowly and efficiently through controlled burn chambers. The key to making this system work safely was the controlled burn chamber. Soldiers often used an old ammunition tin or food can with small puncture holes on its side. They'd fill it with glowing embers from a nearby cooking fire, then bury it deep enough that oxygen supply was minimal. The metal acted as a slow-release heat capsule, radiating warmth without flame. By connecting 2 or 3 of these tins through underground channels, made from hollow sticks, small pipes, or even clay tunnels, they could extend the heat distribution across an entire dugout. A well-built system could raise the soil temperature from below freezing to over 10 degrees Celsius in just a few hours. Remarkably, reports from the Finnish front describe these chambers still warm the next morning, even when snow outside had turned to ice. This wasn't primitive guesswork. It was battlefield thermodynamics. The soldiers learned how to manipulate oxygen flow, density and material layering to make the Earth itself hold and release heat like a massive thermal battery. The method also dried clothes, prevented frost damage and preserved weapons. When frost set in, weapons jammed, uniforms froze, and even food turned rock-hard. The subterranean heating system did more than keep men warm. It solved all of those problems at once. Soldiers would dig vent holes through the floor above the heat channels, allowing slow, dry air to circulate. This airflow dried wet socks, gloves, and rations without exposing them to open flame. Even rifles benefited. Many accounts describe soldiers laying weapons directly above the warm earth to prevent freezing of the firing mechanisms. The constant low-grade heat kept gun oil viscous and reduced moisture condensation inside barrels. In field conditions, this meant life or death. The same concept is used today in cold climate armories and greenhouses. Maintaining consistent subsurface warmth prevents freezing and stabilizes humidity levels. You know, this heating method can still be replicated today for survival or off-grid living. For modern survivalists or homesteaders, this old World War II technique can be recreated using natural materials. The principle is simple, really. Capture heat deep underground and let the earth release it slowly. You'd start with a narrow trench beneath your shelter floor, about 20 to 30 centimeters deep. Fill it halfway with hot stones or embers, then cover them with a thick layer of sand, followed by a final seal of clay or dense soil, roughly 10 centimeters thick. The sand layer prevents direct combustion, while the clay traps and disperses heat. Now, to maintain temperature overnight, you can add metal or clay tubes extending horizontally through the trench to act as heat conduits. If done correctly, this setup can maintain soil warmth above freezing for 10 to 12 hours, even in sub-zero temperatures. What's remarkable is that this method doesn't require constant tending, doesn't emit smoke, and leaves no visible trace above ground. Precisely why soldiers on reconnaissance or deep patrol relied on it so heavily. The reason it disappeared was because modern armies just couldn't replicate it safely. After the war, the method quietly vanished from training manuals. Officially, it was removed due to the risk of carbon monoxide buildup and accidental ignition if used improperly. Unofficially, it was considered obsolete once portable stoves and chemical heaters were introduced. But those who truly understood it knew better. The old underground system wasn't dangerous when constructed correctly. It was simply too effective and, well, too independent. It required no supply lines, no manufactured gear, and no fuel other than coals or hot stones. Field engineers who revisited wartime archives in the 1970s confirmed that the buried heat design was rediscovered during Arctic training exercises, and, well, it worked exactly as described. It didn't just warm air, it actually warmed the very earth beneath the shelter, melting frozen soil and creating a microclimate of stability in sub-zero regions. Lessons from the past prove that the best heating doesn't always burn above ground. The forgotten World War II underground heating system is more than just a historical curiosity. It's a demonstration of human ingenuity under, frankly, impossible conditions. Soldiers created a zero-smoke, zero-fuel system using nothing but sand, clay, and heat transfer principles. They turned the ground into a silent furnace that melted ice and sustained life beneath it. Today, its principles live on in passive earth shelters, thermal mass heating, and geothermal greenhouses. The method proves that warmth doesn't always come from what you burn. It comes from how you capture and hold it. If you value the rediscovery of forgotten survival engineering and the secrets that kept men alive when the cold itself was an enemy, subscribe to In the Beginning. Share this with fellow history enthusiasts who understand that real survival isn't built on gadgets. It's built on knowledge passed through generations. These methods worked when technology failed, and that's exactly why they still deserve to be remembered today.